What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well and had a great weekend. Today is June the 30th. It's actually the last day of the month, also the last day of the quarter as well. So, kind of talk about some of the charts we have coming into today. We are at all-time highs. Markets are gapping up over the weekend. A lot of things to talk about coming into this week. Before we do that, good morning. What's up, everyone? Good morning, B Roots, KO. Jeff, Damien, Paul, Martin, Josh, Nantali, planning to join your mentor. Just want to ask, trade live NQ. Yes, we trade live NQ, primarily options. We do trade some futures as well. Nasser, Abdul, Juan, Robert, Yogi, Ashley, Ann, JT, Monty, Ryan, Sean. Good morning, Wayne, Carlos, Daniel, Chris, Fan. Good morning, Jen, Jose, Cuba, Ricardo, Lee. I'm just gonna say Mama. What's up, Andreas? What's up, Henry? Good morning, Venus, Danielle, Alan. I always forget how to pronounce it. For some reason, that's such an easy name. What's up, Rawls, T-Bell, Uniquely, Jatin, Uther, Flying, Telmo. Yeah, good morning. What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are doing well. Let's hop right into the charts. Let's actually go over the weekly outlook before we do that. We'll talk about some red folder news events that we have coming to this week, and then we'll go over to the charts and see exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so first things first, really coming into Monday, right? No red folder news today. Red folder news tomorrow, we do have Jerome Powell speaking. That is going to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have news tomorrow that's going to be at 9:30. We also have some more news. That's going to be ISM manufacturing at 10 a.m. with JOLTS opening. So a decent amount of red folder news tomorrow. Then Wednesday, we do have ADP non-farm enrollment. That is going to be at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Thursday, we have the non-farm enrollment change along with unemployment, which is going to be at 8:30. And of course, we do have ISM services. This is primarily on Friday, but Friday we do have a holiday with July the 4th. So the US Independence Day. So that's going to be a holiday for the market on Friday. So there is no we do also have a short week. So we have the end of quarter coming up, we have the end of month, and then we also have a short week as well with July the 4th. All right, let's hop right into some of the charts that we're looking at coming into today, and then we'll get started here. So thesis for this coming week, this is on the ES. SPY and Qs hit all-time highs last week. Last thing for the ES is to hit all-time highs. We do have end of quarter coming up at the end of the month. We could see some rebalancing before that happens. What I would like to see is the ES gravitate towards the 6245 and the 6288 on the higher time frames. So let's first talk about the ES chart and kind of get rid of this. So let's get rid of some of the drawings coming into today. So as you can see right here for the ES, right, we had a lot of consolidation. So we had a lot of consolidation in May along with June as well. And then finally last week, we started to break outside of this range. Once we're able to break outside the range, I talked about the next logical level being your all-time highs. So we ended up hitting your all-time highs on SPY along with the QQQ. Now the next logical levels for the markets is going to be your futures to hit your all-time highs as well. So your ES, your key level in this case, is basically your 6,300 or your 6,288 to be exact. That's going to be the next level that we like to see the market gravitate towards, since really we don't have any levels left. Since we are at all-time highs, we're going to have to use psych levels, Fibonacci's. In this case, that we'll have to use the futures chart because that's the only information that we're going off of. So if we turn this back on, next levels for the ES is going to be your 6269 along with this 6288 on the higher time frames. So let's go back onto the higher time frames here. You can actually change this color now as well. So for the ES coming into today, we are above your last week's highs along with your Friday's highs here as well. What I would like to see coming into today is the hold of your 6236 for this continued push up in towards your 6269 and your all-time highs on the futures contracts being your 6288. So this is going to be the level for me coming into today. We can even make this a little bit smaller. So it's going to be your previous day highs for the ES. That's going to be the key line in the sand for this morning. If we break underneath your 6236, I'm not really interested in a short position. We do have a very small gap back towards the downside, as you can see back towards your 6220. But overall, the market, I would like to see all dips get bought up. That's basically the plan moving forward, and that's what's been the plan for the past week and a bit. Is we're just looking for major dips for a continuation higher. You can see really all last week it maybe offered you one good short that was on a Friday off of your key levels, but besides that, you can see all week every dip being bought up. All you have to do is just ride the trend. Don't make it too complicated, right? You can see short positions offered one good short, which would have been a little bit harder to capture on Friday. Besides that, all dips, and you can see this actually immediately got bought up to end off the day. So key levels, your previous day highs, 6240 on ES coming into today. If we go into the SPY chart, similar thesis for the SPY. Thesis coming into this week, strong rally towards the upside, towards the all-time highs on SPY. QQQ was the first one to hit. Now SPY is next. Now what I like to see is a reaction that we have off your previous all-time highs level. So if we go back into the SPY chart, go into the daily time frame, as you can see here. For the SPY, the fact that we're at all-time highs now, we're above your 613. What we like to see is now it maintain your 613 for continuation towards the upside. So 613 is your key pivot level. I don't have anything else to go off of now because we are at all-time highs. So if we do go into the lower time frames, now what we have here is your 613 previous all-time high. So we have your Thursday's highs of last week. We can now also mark out intraday levels being your previous day highs. What we like to see here for the SPY is it just maintain key levels being your previous day highs, or if it breaks underneath your previous day highs, we like to see the hold of your previous all-time highs being your 613. So levels that we can have coming into today for the SPY is number one, going to be your previous day highs, your 616.50. So coming to market open, we have a few scenarios that we like to see here for the SPY. Number one, the hold of your previous day highs for continuation. If you can hold your previous day highs, I like to see this push back towards your pre-market highs and above. Another possible scenario is that if we do break underneath your 616.50s and hold underneath, there is a potential that we come back towards your 615, which is where we closed off at, and also your gap fill from its previous day as well. So what I would like to see, as I mentioned, hold of your previous day highs for this pushback towards the upside. Also, another scenario that we do have actually is your break of your pre-market high. We can also mark this out as well. It's going to be above your 618. If we can get above your pre-market highs and hold, we can see some more continuation higher as well. Let's go on to the next charts is going to be the NQ. All right, thesis coming into this week, all markets rallying towards the upside. NQ is now having a mini reaction off the 22737 key level. What I would like to see is the move towards your all-time highs on the future contracts being your 22870. So if you go into the NQ chart, let's hop onto the daily time frame. We actually just hit your all-time highs for the future contracts this morning. So for the ES, that's the only one left to hit all-time highs now. So we hit your all-time highs on the SPY and Qs. We just hit your all-time highs on the NQ contracts. The last major indice, or at least last major asset class to hit your all-time highs, is going to be the futures contracts for the ES. So for the NQ, you can see nice rally after breaking above our 22240. We had this nice continued push all the way back towards the upside, towards our 22740 and this 22890. So as you can see right here, key levels that we do have for the NQ is now our all-time highs. All-time highs being our 22870 here. So this is your all-time highs. Now what I'd just like to see is it really maintain your all-time highs. You can mark out a couple other levels here as well, being your previous day highs, 22820 our 22,820, and now we can mark out our all-time highs here as well, being our 22,870. So we have a couple key levels coming into today for the NQ. Let me actually just refine these levels. So coming into today, we have number one, your previous day highs marked out. You can see in the after hours, we ended up holding this level and pushing back towards your all-time highs. Now what we like to see is one of two things, right? The hold of your previous all-time highs for continuation towards the upside, the hold of your 22,870, or another scenario is the dip down in towards your previous day highs, hold this level, and we push back, reclaim, push back towards the upside. So this is what we have for the NQ. If you go into the QQQ, key levels for the Qs are a lot more cleaner, right? We don't have too many levels. All we have is just going to be your previous day highs. So for the Qs, if you go into the daily chart, remove some of the drawings here, right? Clearly in a very nice uptrend on the overall markets, right? We had our all-time highs marked out. QQQ, all higher lows were being built towards the upside. Next logical levels was our all-time highs. We ended up breaking above your all-time highs last week. So now you can see any sort of dip, we expect this to continue back towards the upside above your 540 here on the higher time frame. So if we go on to the daily chart, you can see right here, 540 is our key level, previous all-time highs. Now we're going to have to mark out our intraday levels here as well, since we're kind of far away from our all-time highs, 540. So what we can do now is mark out our previous day's highs and lows. So our previous day highs, 550. We can mark out our Thursday's highs here as well. We can mark out our previous day lows. Really now for the Qs, a little bit more bullish than the SPY here. So key level for the QQQ coming into today is going to be our 550. Our 550 is going to be our key point of interest. If we can maintain your 550, you can see this continue push towards the upside. Now we can also mark out our pre-market highs here as well. Potential consolidation, break above your pre-market high for this pushback towards the upside. So we can now also mark out our pre-market highs, which is going to be our all-time highs, 552 here on the SPY and Qs. All right, let's go on to some of the tech names that we have coming to this week. All right, let's go into Tesla. So Tesla thesis for this week, not really much to say on this name. Markets are at all-time highs and Tesla is lagging behind. What I would like to see on this name is the reaction that we have off your 310 lows. This is the level of support that you like to see hold. We have to go into lower time frames in order to get a more clear picture on the lower time frame trends. So for Tesla coming into today and coming into this week, what we do have on Tesla is really just going to mark out this area. So we had this general area before, a lot of consolidation once we ended up breaking out with this wedge pattern, nice push towards the upside. But then last week, right, we kind of pushed out here with Robotaxi, but then eventually kind of sold back off and just came right back into the area where we broke out from. So for Tesla, as you can see, the markets are at all-time highs. Tesla's lagging behind. So really not too much to say on this ticker, where you're now just going to have marked out our 330 along with our 310 lows. We can also mark out some more levels here as well, which is going to be your previous day lows. We can also just mark this out. So we can mark out our Wednesday's lows along with our Friday's key pivot levels here as well. So for Tesla, just keep an eye out on your 320 along with your 330. We can just draw out this box. If we consolidate in this general area, potentially break underneath our 320, we can be looking for continuation down in towards your 314. If we just maintain this box, right, reject off the lows, we can see this bounce off your 320 to just continue back towards the upside. If we do want to see some more upside, it's going to be the bounce off 320 or the break above your 330. For this continued pushback towards the upside. Either way, Tesla, a lot more consolidation, not really in a clear trend on the higher time frames as well. So not too much to talk about this one. It's just all going to be based off of intraday price action on this ticker. Let's go on to the next chart, which we have as NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, right now, you can see that NVIDIA is leading the markets towards the upside. Semiconductors have been strong. Now that NVIDIA is above all-time highs, you'd like to see all major dips get bought up on the higher time frames. This level, the level that you like to see hold is your 152. So for the semiconductors, hopefully some of you guys were able to capture the semiconductors last week. We talked about these ones being fairly strong with the SMH breaking out, NVIDIA, AMD leading its way back towards the upside. So before we head on to the semis, let's take a look at the SMH. So the SMH is your semiconductor ETF. Similar to SPY and Qs, right? It's an ETF, this one primarily designed for the semiconductors. So last week we talked about the potential breakout on this one above your 264. You can see a lot of consolidation. Once we broke out, we're expecting this push up and towards your 270s and potentially your all-time highs being your 283. So for semiconductors, we were able to capture basically the whole move on the SMH and a bunch of these other semis as well for this nice push towards the upside. So SMH now next levels, all-time highs 283. So yeah, 283 here on the SMH. If we can mark out other levels as well. So I have your 283 along with this level, which is going to be your 278. So let's go back onto the lower time frames now. For the SMH, key levels is going to be this 279. We can just mark this out. And we can now mark out your previous day highs here as well. So we can just draw this and drag this one over. So for SMH coming into today, you can see it's fairly bullish here on the daily time frame. Every dip still has gone bought up. What I would like to see now is either the hold of your 279 and then we continue back up and towards your all-time highs 283, or if you can get above your previous day highs 280s, we can see the hold of your 280s. I'd like to see this push up in towards your 283 as well. So that's at least for the SMH semiconductors. Let's go into the NVIDIA chart and AMD. So NVIDIA and AMD have been the leaders towards the upside. These are the main semiconductors that has been pushing the overall market. So you can see NVIDIA, higher time frame, very much bullish. We've been talking about NVIDIA, right, being relatively strong compared to the overall market. And then we had clear levels, all-time highs, 152 double top here on the daily time frame. We're expecting NVIDIA to gravitate towards that level. You can see very strong push on the daily time frame. If you look at the weekly chart, very nice weekly candle close here as well. So going back onto the NVIDIA daily time frame, the only key levels of support that I do have kind of all the way back up and towards your 152 previous all-time highs. If we go back onto the 1 hour time frame now for NVIDIA, what I would like to see is now just the hold of your previous day high. So what we have here is your 158. We can also mark out now it's going to be your 156 here as well. But primarily for NVIDIA moving forward, at least today, what I would like to see, the hold of your 158 for this continued push higher. So that's going to be the key level for me today. 158 previous day highs. If we do have a little bit of a pullback down in towards your previous day close, regardless, I'd like to see the reclaim of your 158, or it's going to be the hold of your 158 right off the bat. So that's going to be the key levels that we have coming into today for NVIDIA. We can also mark out your pre-market highs here as well. Let's go on to AMD. AMD, another name that has been leading the market higher. Let me actually just scroll down here. Semis pushing up nicely here with AMD leading the way. This one has a very nice move with the news as well in the past few weeks, driving this name towards the upside. Now that AMD is green on the year, what I would like to see is a consolidation around your 143. So for AMD, this one went from red to green on the year. We broke above key levels as well. Now we're above our 132, 128, and now we're just consolidating around this 143. So with AMD, really solid push a few weeks ago with news that drove the market back towards the upside. Now what we like to see here is one of two things: consolidation or continuation towards the upside. So if you go back into the 15-minute chart here on AMD, you can see this one's been consolidating kind of around this 144 level for the past few days. What we would like to see now is the hold of our 144 if we do want to see any sort of continuation. Other levels we can have marked out as well is going to be this 145 key pivot level, which is your Thursday's highs from last week. So for AMD, what I like to see, hold of your 144. If you can hold your 144, that's still good for a continuation higher. Then we'd also like to see now the reclaim back above your 146. You can see on Friday, we broke above this level. We tried holding above your 146, but ultimately was not able to hold, and we came right back down in towards that 144. If AMD can hold above your 146, we can see this nice continue push now back up in towards your last week's highs and also your 148 and above. So for AMD today, I'd like to see either the hold of your 146 pre-market highs, other key levels as well, or it's going to be your previous day close, retest your 144 for continuation back towards the upside. Either way, the semiconductors have been looking very strong. Nvidia looking a little bit stronger this morning, but semis continuing to push towards the upside. SMH does have room towards your all-time highs. We still have room towards that level. So let's go on to the next charts that we do have. Apple thesis for this coming week: Apple lagging the overall markets. The NQ is at all-time highs, while Apple is really not doing too much but consolidating. As for this name, I like to see this wedge pattern break to either side. Lots of liquidity being built up. The range is getting tighter and tighter. So for Apple, you have a couple names that are really lagging the overall market on this rally back towards the upside. Apple primarily number one, along with Tesla. So you can see Apple really hasn't done too much in the past 20 to 40 sessions compared to the QQQ and the SPY. So really not too much to talk about here on Apple. We can just mark out the small range that we do have, potentially kind of this wedge pattern forming. But besides that, really don't want to talk too much about Apple just because it hasn't done anything. So for this name, you can just mark out our previous week's highs, your previous week's lows. And until we have any sort of news factor on Apple, I don't expect it to move that much. All right, let's go into the Meta chart. Right now, you can see that Meta broke outside of the consolidation from 700. Now that Meta is pushing back towards your 740 all-time highs key level, that is the next level I'd like to see the reaction off of. So for Meta, higher time frame daily breakout, we ended up breaking outside of this consolidation. So you can see broke outside this consolidation, 705, end up using this nicely as a retest. Next logical levels would be your all-time highs, 740 here. And you can see Meta, nice strong push after breaking out. We actually just hit your all-time highs here in the pre-market. So for Meta, coming into today, what you would like to see is now the hold of your 740. So this is your all-time highs, 740 key level. What you would like to see is a potential kind of pullback coming to market open and a hold of your 740 for this dip and rip for this continued push back towards the upside. So if you can pull back to your 740 coming to market open, that would be super solid here on Meta. If not, if let's say it just pushes higher, then potentially you could be looking for right pre-market high, breaking retest, or any sort of lower time frame, right, opening ranges for continuation higher. So 740 key level is your previous all-time highs on this name. As for Amazon, thesis for this coming week, right now you can see that Amazon is breaking out on Friday. This one is breaking out of the 218 key level. Also has Prime Week coming up as well. So I'd like to see the run up on this name. Key levels will be 225 and above. So coming into this week, or coming up, what we do have is Amazon now breaking outside of its daily time frame. As you can see, breaking outside of this 218. That's why buyers stepped in here on Friday. We also do have Prime Week coming up as well. So that is a news catalyst that can drive this back towards the upside. Upside 225, and then of course 230 and your all-time highs here on Amazon. So key levels that we can have marked out. Number one, we can just mark out this daily key pivot high, 223. Next levels we can mark out is going to be this 225. And we just keep marking out these old highs here on Amazon. So if we go back onto the 15-minute time frame, key levels that we like to see it maintain now is going to be your previous day highs. So we can mark out your previous day highs, 223 here on Amazon. We can mark out just this general area. And we can also mark out this 225 here as well. That coincides with your pre-market highs. So coming into today, what I'd like to see is the dip down in towards your previous day highs, higher low off your 223 for this continued push back towards the upside. We could also be looking for the break above your 225 pre-market highs, higher time frame key level as well for this push back towards the upside. So either scenario, I personally prefer the previous day high retest, but we'll keep an eye out on Amazon. We do have the levels marked out here. So let me actually just set an alert. That's the level we can keep an eye out on Amazon coming into market open. Okay. I think that's majority of the tech names that we covered. If you guys do have any charts, I will go over some tickers before we have some news. Sorry, we don't have any red folder news today. So if you guys do have any tickers or any charts you'd like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat now. And then we'll develop our game plan here in a bit, coming into market open. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Seems like quite a decent amount of people this morning. So if you guys don't already know and you guys want to join the watch list, I have a free watch list in the description. If you guys are enjoying this, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. All right, let's go over some of these names. Let's kind of scroll up here. Good morning. What's up, everyone? Can you please teach us how we have any sort of dips for a continuation high, right? If you're trying to short last week, look at how difficult it would be. Maybe you had one nice potential short at the very end of the day on Friday. Besides that, every single day, all dips were getting bought up. And that's kind of, especially when the markets are in a trend, you want to follow what's the trend. And the trend in this case is bullish. So any sort of dip on the overall markets, you want to be looking for long positions for a continuation back towards the upside. As for Fibonacci's, we'll talk about kind of fibs here in a second. The easiest way is you just draw it from swing high to swing low. So in this case, if I was to draw it a Fibonacci, where I would draw it out, let's say I was on the QQQ, I can just draw the most recent leg in price. So I can draw this, or I can draw this leg from this Wednesday, mark this up. You can see price kind of, you can mark out this swing high from Wednesday's swing low to Friday's swing high. You can see we kind of had a 50% retracement. And then you have your fib extensions in this case, which will be your negative 0.382 and your negative 618. So these are the final extensions for the Qs, and you can keep marking out these levels. So next levels that have after your pre-market highs would be your 554, and then you can also mark out your 556 here as well. All right, let's go on to some names. Let's send it. I swear I saw you and Scarface whip by me, put a fire in me. You got to make it out of this place. Yeah, it's kind of cool. If you saw, when's the last time we've been out? Maybe in a minute. Maybe it was like a car meet a couple weeks ago. But that's actually cool. Say hi next time. ARM. Let's see, Palantir. All right, let's go into Palantir. So let's kind of remove a few levels here as well. So Palantir, this daily candle closed fairly weak here on Friday. End off the week as well, pretty strong. Sorry, pretty weak daily candle close. So for Palantir, let's actually remove quite a few levels in this case. Let's go back onto the 1 hour chart now. So Palantir, I'm not sure if it did have news. I'm pretty sure on Friday, we ended up pushing price back towards the downside. Key levels in this case now for Palantir is just coming back towards this earnings high level. So this earnings high all the way back from May, super key level. We could just drag this out. That's a key level, which is your 130. You can see so far kind of bouncing here in the after hours along with the pre-market. Now the levels that we like to see reclaim and hold is this level right here, or 136. So coming into today here for Palantir, after this pretty big push towards the downside, nice kind of rally, reclaiming back above your 136. What I would like to see, hold of your 136 for this continued push back towards the upside. So 136 is going to be key here for Palantir. If you consolidate in this general area, price breaks underneath, then there's a potential that we could see a little bit more continuation lower, which is going to be your 133 and this 130 on the higher time frame. So that's going to be key for Palantir. I'm not sure exactly what this is. PRGS. It's a software company. In this case, I actually haven't marked out this chart, but it looks nice, shaping up towards the upside. I'm sure this one has some catalyst coming up as well. So next levels above your 65 is just going to be your all-time high. So if you're on the lower time frames, you like to see it maintain above your 65. As for ARM, so yeah, a lot of these semiconductors, let me just remove a few levels here as well, are pushing up nicely just because of the SMH, and now these are all following along. So ARM, you have MU, TSM, all these ones are just going to push back up and towards your key levels based off of the overall market and the semiconductors here as well. So ARM daily chart shaping up fairly nicely. Key levels that we have marked out on ARM now is going to be your 168, and then you can mark out your 170 and other levels above. So you can mark out a few levels here for ARM. Let's go back onto the lower time frames. Key levels coming to today for ARM is going to be your 168, 164, and we can also mark out your previous day highs, which is going to be this 166. So coming into today here for ARM, I would like to see the hold of your previous day highs for this continued push back up and towards your 168. Another scenario, right? Push back down in towards your 165, reclaim later into the session for this pushback towards the upside. As for IWM's key level that we do have marked out is now going to be your top of the range, which is in this case your 217. We also have marked out your bodies, which is this 215. Actually, just remove a few levels here. So for IWM, really what we have marked out is your 215, 212. So once we broke outside this consolidation, you can see nice kind of retest and continuation higher. Now we're breaking outside this 215, retesting this level and continuing back towards upside as well. So IWM building up these higher lows here. Now I like to see the push up and towards this 218 above your previous day highs, right? 218 is going to be your key level. So IWM, we like to see now just hold and maintain your 215. As for Hood, so Hood, hopefully guys, some of you were able to capture this one as well. Hood, I've been talking about an all-time highs move for a while now. One of my top watches, we finally hit all-time highs last week, 85 here on the higher time frames. Now what I like to see is the break above your 85, which is your previous all-time highs, hold for this continued pushback towards the upside. So get rid of a couple levels here on Hood. Now what I'd like to see is the hold above your 85. So this is your previous all-time highs here, key level from last week as well. Now that we're gapping above, I'd like to see the hold of your 85 for this continued push back towards the upside. Since this one is at all-time highs, now we're gonna have to use key psych levels, right? 86, 87, 88 for at least key intraday levels. Next higher time frame level, in my opinion, is going to be 90. And of course, that key psych level eventually is going to be that 100 key psych. Any opening plays today? Yeah, so today primarily it's going to be the dip. So it's going to be the dip down in towards your previous day highs on the major indices. So for opening plays at least, I would like to see the dip and rip, which is the dip back down in towards your previous day highs, either on the SPY or the Qs, right? It seems like SPY is going to come down in towards your previous day high, so we'll see the reaction on this one. And then primarily it's going to be, at least on the tech side, tech was kind of lagging behind on Friday, so we'll keep an eye out primarily on the semiconductors, and I do also like Meta and Amazon as well. So both these ones look good to me, right? Semis have been looking good. All dips have been gone bought up. Meta potential retest of your 740, which is going to be your previous all-time highs if it can pull back, and then also Amazon, the hold of your 223 previous day highs. This one does have Prime Week coming up, so I would like to see kind of a run up into that. As for coin, this one's consolidating right above our key level 350. So you can see multiple touches here. Now we're basing above our 350. What I like to see a little bit more consolidation, and then right eventually next leg higher above your 370. So for coin, 350 is the key level. As you can see, price came back down here on Friday. Now what I like to see a little bit more consolidation, and then eventually once we're able to reclaim back above our 370, that's going to be good for the next leg towards the upside. So that's what we have for coin. We can now just mark out our 350 along with our 370 here. As for CRWV, this one's still holding up. Key levels now we like to see reclaim is going to be this 168. So you can see multiple touches here. we have a potential kind of head and shoulders forming, but what we do want to see reclaim, invalidate this invalidate this head and shoulders and continue back towards the upside. So for key levels that I do have marked out, sorry, this chart's all messed up, but key levels that we'd like to see reclaim is going to be back above your 166. Okay, let me actually go over a few more here. Circle. Yeah, so circle kind of pulling back here after having this really strong rally towards the upside. If we're looking at the daily kind of down close candle, your level of support is this 162. So that's kind of the level I do expect circle to gravitate towards, at least for last week. Key levels that we have marked out was our 205. So our 205 was super key. Once we're unable to hold above your 205, the next level support all the way back down and towards your 165. So that's the level I do expect circle to most likely gravitate towards, and real buyers to step in is going to be off your 165. So we can mark out your previous day lows, kind of consolidate in this general area. Right. Eventually, once we do break this 176, this is the level that you'd like to see buyers step in off of. It's going to be your 164. This is your area of consolidation. As you can see here, this is also where your down close candle is as well. So a lot of times price after this initial breakout, it will come back down to retest the area that we broke out from, which is your 160 here on the higher time frames. As for SoFi, super solid push on SoFi as well. I'm actually super glad I have a nice amount of shares for like a 10 average. But SoFi pushing up into this 1780s, and then we're going to be looking for your 1840s here. So this is your daily gap. Let me actually remove all this. So the levels that we have for SoFi coming into today, we have this daily gap. So we have this gap all the way back from January earlier this year. As you can see, back up and towards your 1780s, and then of course your 1850s, if you can gravitate towards there. So for SoFi, let's actually go back onto this. Key levels that we have coming into today is going to be your 1712, and we can also now mark out your previous day highs here as well, which is going to be the 1750. So what I would like to see on SoFi, hold of your previous day high 1750 for this push up and towards your top of your gap fill, 1780s here on the higher time frames. Next level 1780s along with this 1840s. Okay, let me scroll down here. I think I missed a lot. You guys are typing out a lot here as well. What's up, everyone? Good morning. What kind of scenario do we look out for with a reclaim without a retest? Well, reclaim is a reclaim is the scenario that I always look for. So if it's a key level, primarily I'll look for the reclaim. Reclaim is usually the strongest one, especially if it's an 84% rule. So if I have an 84% rule, I don't have to wait for the retest because the reclaim is what the setup is, right? The 84%. How can I get the TradingView preset labeling that you and Tony are using? I'm not exactly what you mean by preset labeling. Are you talking about the labels, or are you talking about the layout that we do have? US 30, SoFi. For anyone, thoughts on trading only SPY? Yeah, SPY, a lot of people only trade SPY as well. Crypto, some people trade crypto market a little bit slower right now currently, but there's some nice crypto opportunities, just Bitcoin, Ethereum, just a lot more mean reversions, and you're just looking for lower time frame trends. Good morning, what's up? I was watching the cell phone, just got home and switched to Mac. Nice. Can you do analysis for gold? Yeah, let me take a look at gold. So for gold, I actually have a lot of levels kind of drawn out. But for gold, you can see it kind of hit my key point of interest. Now, a lot more mean reversions, right? For gold, not as many trends, but you can see really key level right down in towards that 3245, exactly where the buyer stepped in. Now we're coming right back up in towards our 3295. So our 3295, you can see multiple touches off this level. If we do want to see some more upside, reclaim back above this level and hold. So far, we're having a little bit of rejection. If you want to see it stay heavy, maintain underneath this 3295. For all the people that are trading gold, do you guys trade this on the lower time frames, like the 5 and 1 minute, or do you guys look for more swing trades on this one? I'm actually curious. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Let me kind of scroll down here as well. How do you know if the trend is slowing down or reverse if we're at all-time highs? Exactly. So you don't have to keep asking yourself if we're gonna find a top, right? Is it gonna start reversing, right? Until the chart tells us, right, we're gonna be looking for dips and we're gonna look for continuation back towards the upside. So every day, if you come in with the bias that you're gonna be looking for major dips in the market, then right, even if there is one day where it does pull back, right, you won most of the days because you had that bullish bias and you're looking for a continuation higher, right? So as long as the markets are holding key levels, you want to be looking for dips. If you're coming to every single day being like, oh, when is the market gonna potentially reverse? Is it gonna reverse this day? Then every single day you're gonna maybe look, or if that's the mindset that you have, then you're gonna be looking for shorts. And if you're gonna be looking for shorts in an uptrend, you might win one day out of maybe 5, or maybe one day out of 10. Whereas you're going to miss the whole kind of trend towards the upside if you had more of a bullish bias, right? Since we're at all time highs, it's very hard to have a bearish bias, especially now that we're at all time highs. Let's see. My worry is when we do have a bullish. When do we know? As if you said, mindset is all dips are good. Exactly. So that's what the mindset. Let's say, for example, last week you had a mindset of all dips are going to get bought up. Right? You came into the market every single day looking for dips to get bought up. You would have won, I would say, at least 4 or maybe 5 out of 5 days last week. Just because your bias was bullish, the clear signals was towards all-time highs, right? If you're a short bias, maybe you would have won on Friday, and that's if, because it was a little bit of a harder short. Plus, this had news later into the session, right? There wasn't really any opportunity where you could have made money on the short side, maybe here or maybe on Friday, but that's about it. It's very hard to make money if you're looking for short every single day because the overall trend is bullish. So if you just trade with the trend and look for major dips, right, on any sort of name, right, tech name, right, any sort of name, if you had a bullish bias, with the exception of maybe Apple or Tesla, right, you could have made money towards the long side. And it's a lot easier to make money as well, just because you're trading with the trend. Okay, let me kind of scroll down here. There's a lot of questions. 840 here as well. Oracle is popping. Yeah, so Oracle is popping here. Look at this nice kind of consolidation break. So we had this kind of mapped up here on Oracle at all-time highs here as well. Nice daily time frame kind of flat top break. And now you can see we're breaking towards the upside. I'm sure there's news here that's pushing this towards the upside. This would have been a super solid setup if it didn't break here in the pre-market. But now we're above. You can expect continuation. Day one most likely move higher. But key levels is going to be the 216. Thank you so much. Got to run, got to learn. Yeah, I actually didn't realize it's 8:43 here as well. So I'll kind of go over my game plan coming to today and call it. Are you accepting new people for private coaching? I'd like to join. That one's currently closed. We have a wait list, so you can join if you'd like. You can join the wait list. How do you keep chart levels different in TradingView layouts? If you want to choose, then you can, it's the left-hand side right here. So you click this. It's going to be new drawings will sync globally, or new drawings will sync in layout, or you can just turn this off so you don't have them on whatsoever. Yeah, it was most likely the rebalancing. We had kind of a rebalancing for end of quarter. That's why we had a lot of volatility, at least on Friday, just because there's a lot of rebalancing that was done. Since we do have the end of quarter today, I do expect a lot of kind of rebalancing, even today as well, just because it is end of month plus end of quarter. I trade gold with the 5-minute orb, just the way you've been teaching. My win rate 65%. Awesome. That's love to hear it. All right. Let me kind of go over my game plan and then I will call it a day. Okay, so coming into today, so QQQ, we already hit all-time highs on the Q, SPY. We actually just hit it here for the ES as well. So this is a very key point of interest on the NQ. We could have a potential reaction off of. So coming into today, what I would like to see is a reaction that we have off of your previous day highs being your 550. So we have a few key levels today. Number one is going to be the 615 here on the SPY. If you can maintain your 615, we can see this continue push back up and towards your 618. If we consolidate in this general area, reject, then we can see this push back down and towards your 615. For the QQQ, similar thesis. Key level 550. If you can maintain your 550, I like to see this push back towards the upside. Break back underneath your 550. We can see your previous day close 548. My main watch is coming to today is still going to be the semiconductors just because SMH has room towards all-time highs. Semis are still holding up, so we'll keep an eye out on Nvidia. Key levels in this case, previous day highs. AMD levels I will have is going to be this 146. Other names that I do like a lot coming into at least today, a little bit more, right? Semis are very nice and still holding up, at least for a potential opening play. We have Meta off your 740 previous all-time highs. That's going to be your key level. Amazon, potential hold of your previous day highs, 223. So that's going to be the key level. So keep an eye out on your semiconductors along with Meta and Amazon. Google is actually holding up very strong as well. So key levels on Google is going to be this 178. Also, we have your 181. We can also mark out this as well, our 182. So you can keep an eye out on Google for the hold of your 181 pre-market key levels for a continued push higher. So these are the levels that we can keep an eye out on. We also have all these other names. So a lot of names are looking good. Hood looks good above your 85. There's a lot of tickers to go over, but basically, whenever you have so many tickers that look nice, you kind of just want to focus on primarily a few tickers. In this case, just focus on some of the semiconductors. You have Amazon and you also do have Meta as well. So those are the main tickers, right? If you look at TSM, MU, these ones have room towards all-time highs. ARM looks good. A lot of these names are shaping up nicely just because, as you can see, the markets are at all-time highs. So whenever the markets eventually hit all-time highs, which we already hit, as long as you consolidate, you'll see a lot of these other tech names, they'll now catch up and they'll also have room back up towards your all-time highs as well. So that's what we have coming into today. I'm most likely going to get ready for market open here now. It's almost 8:50 now. Let's see. On an uptrend, how do you know when we'll turn? I've learned so much for yeah. Answered that one. I mentioned just all dips. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but yeah, all dips. Oracle. If you're looking for Oracle, it's gonna be a little bit tougher to trade. You're gonna have to base it off of intraday price action, kind of these pre-market levels now as well. Thank you. I'm watching every day and understanding your videos. Would today be a good way to swing Amazon if we get a good entry? Yeah, if Amazon, you can get a low risk entry. That's going to be the area, right? 223. You can also mark down towards 220, but this is going to be the key level coming to today. Is the indicator available in the accelerator? We currently closed it, so we closed that off. We're gonna reopen it, just only to the accelerator. Maybe we might open it eventually back up into the public. We did have a few issues with that. But yeah, that we're gonna open that back up. How do we get on the wait list? That one's in the description. Also, the free watch list is in the description as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna get ready for market open. If you guys do want to join the free watch list or the wait list, that one's in the description. And then if you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone.